Hey everybody, it's me, James McBride Hemmings III with Fifth on the Daily. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Happy Thursday. Hope you're having a great day so far. You know what I wanted to do today? I want to take another day, just to jump straight into this, I want to take another day to really address people that are discouraged about anything that could be going on in your life that you may be discouraged about. Today, I want to address people that have their heads down about something. And I don't know what it's about. It could be your situation. It could be maybe a tragedy just happened. Maybe someone just passed away. Maybe life is just down right now. Maybe you feel like a failure. Maybe you'll find today, it's interesting, we're going to talk about it, how many different things we allow to put our heads down and put our heads up. I want to read something to you, which is the verse I want to use for today. This is something that King David said in Psalm chapter 4, verse 3. And he says, "But you, O Lord, are a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter of my head." Today, I want to title this podcast as simply "The Lifter of Your Head." Now, what's amazing about King David, in the time he wrote this, at the very time that he wrote Psalm chapter 4, where he said that you are my glory and the lifter of my head. When he wrote this was at a time of his life where really his situation was very down, extremely low, almost the lowest of his entire life. Because at this point in time, he's seemingly just lost his entire kingdom to his son. This kingdom that he's ruled for years. And there's a verse in the Bible that even says his son's name was Absalom. And Absalom, basically, he took the entire kingdom from David. It says that he stole the hearts of the people. Imagine that, losing the hearts of the people that you fought for at this time, over 20 years. David's older now. I mean, this is a very traumatic time. And when he wrote this, actually, he's writing this, or he sang this, because this is a song. He wrote this as he was leaving Jerusalem. As he's leaving, he's crossing the River Jordan, and it's like he's looking back on this city, on this country that he's fought for. And he just lost all of it, seemingly. Really, what makes it amazing about what he's saying, think about what he's saying. He says, "You, Lord, are my glory and the lifter of my head." That's crazy. Because he's saying that he has glory at a time where really, judging by his situation is not glorious whatsoever. He's lost everything, basically. He's lost everything. And he says, "You, Lord, are the lifter of my head." Can I tell you something, an issue that we have? I think an issue that we have is that too often we let the posture of our heads be determined by the posture of our situations. Too often we do that. Because David wrote this, folks. He wrote this at a time where his situation was very low, very low. And what I want to do, folks, I want to come to a place in my life where really my situation, not just where my situation cannot put my head down, but also where my situation is not what lifts my head up. I want to come to a place where just because my situation is up doesn't mean that's why my head is up. where the posture of my head isn't determined by the posture of my situation. Just because my head is down doesn't mean, just because my situation is down doesn't mean my head has to be down with it. Because the truth of the matter is, folks, if Jesus is the one who lifts your head will be up whether your situation is up or down. If Jesus is the one that lifts your head, it doesn't matter what your situation looks like. It doesn't matter what you've lost. It doesn't matter what it seemingly looks like. How down you feel, how up you feel, whether you're up or you're down. If Jesus is the one that lifts your head will always be up. It'll always be up. And so I think something that we deal with is very interesting. I think that we've given ourselves too many head lifters. We've given ourselves so many things that lift our heads, and none of them are strong enough to keep our heads lifted. Because see, it's not that a lot of things can't lift your head. It's that only one can keep it lifted. A relationship can't keep your head lifted. It might be able to lift your head, but it can't keep it. Even a miracle in your life can lift your head, but it can't keep it lifted. A situation can lift your head, but it can't keep it lifted. None of these things other than God are strong enough to keep your head lifted, because a head is a heavy thing. I guess it depends how big your head is. And I have a big head. So God really is the only one who can lift my head. Because if you can't tell how big my forehead is in my Scandinavian descent, I need some Jesus in my life to lift my head, especially. But guys, we gotta narrow this list down, because much of the reason that our heads are so inconsistent, much of the reason that the posture of our heads are so inconsistent, it's because we rely on a lot of inconsistent things to keep our head up. Your situation isn't consistent enough to keep your head high all the time. A person in your life, a spouse, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, it's impossible, no matter how wonderful they are. People are imperfect, and they're not going to be consistent enough to keep your head high all the time. Because the truth of the matter is, folks, if a situation can give you joy, it could also snatch it in a second. It's very inconsistent. But when Jesus is the lifter, notice that David said that. He says, "You are the lifter of my head." One lifter. I have one lifter of my head. One thing that determines my happiness, my perspective, my smile. One thing that determines my outlook on life is Jesus. I rely on one person to lift my head. Because do you know you're not even strong enough to lift your own head or keep it lifted? Let me narrow it down. You may be tough enough to lift your head for a little bit, but you're not strong enough to keep it lifted permanently. We're not tough enough. We need someone bigger than us, someone stronger than us, someone mightier than us to lift our heads and keep it lifted. So the truth is, we have to narrow down our list of the things that lift our heads up, because only one really can. There's good news for anyone out there who has their heads down, because the God of this universe, the God that exists, is in the business of lifting up heads. He's the lifter of heads. And when your head is up, let me tell you something, your perspective is up. You can see what's coming. Now you can see God's plan better for you. You can see things better. There's more clarity when your head is up. So what's there to do, Jamie, if my head's down right now? The only thing you have to do is simply rest and let the one lifter of your head lift your head. Because when you narrow it down and you don't make it about your situation or this or that or this or that, and you just see Jesus as the lifter of your head, watch as not only he lifts your head, but he will keep your head lifted. So rest in him today. Just trust. That's all there is for you to do. Trust that he's going to lift your head and he's going to keep it lifted. Let me pray with you. Father, I thank you that you are the lifter, the sole lifter of our heads, that you keep our heads lifted. And Lord, I pray for everyone who's discouraged, everyone who has their heads down. I thank you that you are, just you are. That's all we have to do, is trust that you are the lifter of our heads. You're going to lift heads. You're going to lift their heads today. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Hey, just a quick announcement. I want to eventually start taking live calls onto this show. Eventually, I really want to incorporate more of that element into this show with live calls. And so I'm going to keep you updated as we establish more of a plan as far as when we're going to do that. So be listening for that, because eventually I want that to be a big part of this show, is helping people right on the show and just talking to people. Also, another announcement, get those breakfast tips in, what Papa Ricky should make for breakfast, because Papa Ricky is not taking any more ideas until after Valentine's Day. So get those in before Valentine's Day, and we're going to upload a video of Papa Ricky making some breakfast, and you'll see more of Papa Ricky in a little bit. But hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Let me grab something real quick. Oh, it just hit my head. Thank you so much for tuning in today with Fifth on the Daily. I'm James McBride, Hammond III, and I'll see you tomorrow.